Guys, good morning. I hope you had a really restful sleep and you're ready for another great day of learning. I'm really excited. We're practically halfway through the book already, so we are zooming through it and we're getting through the pages quite quickly. As you know, the writing is really teeny tiny, and it is sometimes quite a challenge for me because I'm often doing these videos at nighttime, and I do appreciate the fact that you're really trying hard and you are doing your best at home. So please keep it coming. Those who have your Reading Eggs, if you have a Reading Eggs account, you do not need to do this lesson. You can log on to Reading Eggs, but for the majority of you, you'll be continuing with the book with me today. So our learning objective is we're going to carry on looking at inference, and more specifically, we're going to be looking at how actions and feelings give us information about a character. So first of all, we're going to carry on reading the next few pages. Now I know this is really, really small, and so I just hope you listen and you can sit back and you can try and follow with me, but I don't expect you to follow when it's so small, because I do realize and I do understand that this is tiny, and if you can see it, that is wonderful and you can follow along with me. So I'm going to read from yesterday so that it just continues a little bit more freely to the next pages. So it says, Barney looked out, and there were the two other Snoggets standing meekly together, unarmed and holding paper packets in their hands. The middle brother also had a handkerchief which might have been supposed to be white, tied to a stick. We got gifts, said the one with the white flag. Yes, said the other, we come for the little one. Barney hesitated. You better come in, he said, but no tricks. Not likely, said the middle Snogget. Not with that there pal of yours about. They came in through the doorway, saw Stig for the first time close to, and stopped, their eyes growing rounder and rounder. Then the second of them took a step forward, gingerly holding out his hand with a paper bag on it. For you, he said in a shaky voice. It's jelly babies. Stig took the little bag in a puzzled manner, squeezed it, smelt it, turned it about in his hands. Barney realized that though he was clever at a lot of things, he was sometimes surprisingly ignorant about such things as paper bags. Okay, so there we're saying like Stig doesn't got much understanding of general things like a paper bag, and he's obviously not really sure what to do with it. Then as he turned the bag in his hairy hands, one jelly baby fell out onto the floor. Stig's eyes widened and he stooped to pick it up and held it to the light of the lamp, which was flaming in the back of the cave, a pleased expression on his face. Then he reverently stood the little sweetmeat in a niche in the chalk and stood and looked at it. You're supposed to eat it, Stig, said Barney, getting rather tired of this pantomime. It's delicious. He went across the jelly baby's little niche and popped it into his own mouth. Stig looked horrified, and Barney was afraid for a moment he was going to hit him. Right, a niche is like a little space that he's obviously put this little jelly baby on, okay? There's more in the bag, Stig, he said hurriedly, and he took the bag from Stig and opened it and showed him and the other little jelly figures. Go on, eat one, he urged. Stig took one between his finger and thumb, put it in slowly in his mouth and chewed slowly. Barney and the Snoggets watched anxiously, then a smile slowly began to spread over his face, and the Snoggets, who had been standing there, strained and tense, sighed with relief and smiled too. Somehow everyone felt as though some very solemn ceremony had been performed. Solemn means very sad. Barney handed round the bag, and all five of them solemnly ate jelly babies. Then the middle Snogget produced the second gift, which was little bags of fizzy sherbet, with hollow sticks of licorice stuck in them to suck it through. They sat down to this. After a little instruction, Stig got the idea of how to suck the fizzy powder up through the little tube, but as soon as he got a mouthful and felt the unusual sensation on his tongue, he jumped up with an alarmed expression on his face and began coughing and spluttering. And the Snoggets weren't sure whether to laugh or to be alarmed too. But Barney banged Stig on the back, which impressed the Snoggets even more and managed to soothe him down again. Soothe means to calm. Finally, with a flourish, the elder Snogget produced a packet of Woodbine cigarettes and handed them round. All three Snoggets took one as if it was quite a usual thing, but this time it was Barney's turn to hesitate and wonder whether he should. As if he wished to show them they were all friends now, Stig took one, beaming, and without even looking to see what the others were doing with theirs, put it in his mouth. Hesitate means you're not really sure if you want to do it. The smallest Snogget suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, has he eaten it?" And before they could do anything, Stig had chewed up the little tube of tobacco and swallowed it with great satisfaction. The Snoggets and Barney lit their cigarettes at the lamp. Barney immediately choked on his and threw it away and decided he didn't like smoking. The smallest Snarget puffed away and turned first white and then green, and the other two smoked away quite happily. But Stig, though he ate another one, could not be persuaded to send up in smoke what he considered to be nourishing food. So poor Stig is actually eating this and not smoking it like the others. And also, we can also see by the actions there that Barney has never had a cigarette before. Can you see why? Why would we say that Barney has never had a cigarette before? What action is telling us? Good, it says there that he started to cough, all right? All right, he immediately choked on it and he decided to throw it away as well. The Snargets began to feel at home. Is it all right, your pal Stig? Said the eldest Snarget to Barney. You don't say much though, do you? Don't he speak English? Smashing place he's got here and all, said the second. Cora, look at them, old spears. I weren't really feared of him, piped up the youngest. I was just making out I was. Yes, no, we wasn't really going to do no harm to old Barney, eh? Was we, fellas? If we're all just make believe, weren't it? Reckon old Barney and his pal Stig are all right, eh, fellas? The others agreed in chorus. Barney felt a warm feeling inside now, but the Snargets reckoned he and his friend Stig were all right. I tell you that, went on the oldest Snarget. Stig and Barney be part of our gang from now on, and we'll all swear an oath we won't none of us tell no one about this. You're done? Barney was going to agree, and then he thought, well, it was his secret first anyway, so why should he swear about it with anybody? But the Snargets swore a horrible oath among themselves over the body of the last jelly baby in the bag, which they then cut the head off and buried to show what would happen to any of them who broke their oath. Barney felt fairly sure that his secret would not spread around the village now, and he felt somehow that Stig and the Snargets would get along very well together. Barney was quite surprised when he got back to his grandmother's house to find that he was in good time for lunch and Granny was just dishing up dumplings. Did you find something to do outside, dear? Asked his grandmother. Not a very nice day. I had super fun with the Snargets, Granny. First I bombed them and then they were going to lynch me or torture me or something, but I got away to Stig's den and they thought Stig was going to eat one of them, but we ate babies instead. You know, jelly ones. Oh, said Granny, aren't the Snargets rather rough boys for you to play with? Yes, but they're not nearly as rough as Stig. I reckon they'll be all right, said Barney. Right. So we're going to be looking, as I said, our inference skill, and we're still using our evidence to support our answers. And the evidence today we're going to be looking at is our actions. Now, generally, when people do things, it's usually for a reason. For example, why did he go to the shop? And your answer could be because he needed to buy some meat for their dinner or he needed to buy groceries, okay? So often we look at an action and the reasons why we're doing that action. Right, so let's have a look at matching these up. Oh, my battery's about to die. Why did the class cheer? Okay, so we're going to label it because they won the spelling competition. Okay, so what action would go with that? Why did they put their coats? Why did they put on their coats? Because it was getting cold outside. Why did they start yawning? Because they stayed up too late. So your reason for your action often goes hand in hand with what you're doing. Okay, so it matches up. Right, so can you have a think about those? You can just pause the video now and think, why did the man put his apron on? Why did the cat wail outside the door? And a wail is to cry. And why did the woman jump out of the plane? So think about what are some of the reasons that could give me those actions. Super, hopefully you came up with your own and let's carry on. So feeling and actions go hand in hand. So when people do things, it is usually for a reason. Sometimes the reasons for an action have a lot to do with how the character is feeling. For example, why did the boy suddenly yelp and stand on a chair? Okay, and this could be because he was afraid of a mouse and one had just come running across the floor. Okay, so that action has a reason for the fact that he's feeling afraid. So can you now have a quick match at these feelings? So if you're jumping up and punching the air, would you be angry, delighted, or confused? Stomping feet and slamming doors, or staring at something and frowning? I think if you can quickly match those up for me. Pause the video and have a go. Great, so if you're jumping up and down, it means you're very delighted, you're quite excited maybe. Stomping feet and slamming doors definitely would tell me that you're angry. And if you're staring at something and you're frowning at it, you are definitely confused. So all of those actions can give me a feeling as well. So when we're using evidence, we need to take stuff from the text to support our answer, okay? And it could be a number of actions, could give me an explanation. For example, how do we know if it is cold? We could say it's snowing and he hasn't got a warm enough coat. He's shivering, he is trembling, okay? Or we could even say the fact that he's deeming the jungle and a big hairy spider is crawling up his arm, all right? And that could be why he's shaking, all right? So this shaking could be given me lots of different ways. It could be the fact that I'm cold. So there's lots of things to suggest he's cold here, shivering, or he's hasn't got a coat. Could be trembling because he's scared. He could be also seeing the spider crawl up his arm makes him scared. So using evidence to support why we've chosen that. Right, so it says, read the following text and can you think why Nana's eyes were streaming? Streaming means like crying, okay? So pause the video and see if you can read that and have a go. Fantastic work here, Fives. I'm really proud of you for giving this a go, for those of you who did. Right, at the end it says, I'm a tissue, and she sneezes. So if you sneeze, you could be allergic to something. So she might have been, she's obviously allergic to the flowers, and when smelling them, she's now starting to sneeze as a result. So she's not crying because she's maybe overwhelmed with happiness. She's crying because actually she's allergic to them, okay? So her action would be the fact that she's sneezing, and that would then tell us that she's obviously allergic, and the fact that the tears are then rolling down her eyes because she's allergic, not because she's unhappy. Right, so what you're going to be doing today for me is you're going to be also answering these questions using that point and evidence. So you're going to find the point first, you're going to answer the question, and then you're going to give me the evidence. So we're going to do this first one together. Now, what you're going to need is a piece of paper and a pen, because you're going to write your answers down here, and then on the quiz, you are going to then answer it onto the quiz and then submit your answers, okay? So you need to have a pen and paper ready. So if you don't, pause the video and go and get some, and then get ready for the lesson. Right, now that we are ready, we're going to do number one together, and then you can do the rest on your own. There are only 4 questions, so it's quite easy. So it says, did the 2 other Snoggets want to cause trouble with Barney? Provide evidence. Okay, and I'm going to use my highlighter here so that we can find the answer. So it says there that the middle brother also had a handkerchief, which might have been supposed to be white, tied to the stick. So if you have a white piece of cloth tied to a stick, it means that you are surrendering, okay? So first of all, I need to provide my point. What my point is, I need to answer this question. Did the 2 other Snoggets want to cause trouble? No, they didn't, okay? That is me giving my point. No. What is the evidence? It says there that he had a handkerchief, which might have been supposed to be white, which tells me that he is surrendering, okay? That action of sort of flying a flag that's got a white bit of cloth at the end says that you are surrendering. You might have seen in movies where the little character puts up a white piece of paper or a white cloth, and that would mean that he is surrendering. So to provide my evidence to support my answer, I would write that. I would say no as my point, and my evidence is saying he, or they, with them, no, they have a handkerchief tied to the end of a stick. And I'm going to also put the word white. They have a white handkerchief, which says they wanted to come in peace, or they wanted to surrender, okay? Right, they wanted to come in peace, and that action is telling me that they're wanting to come into peace. By waving that piece of white cloth, that white handkerchief, they are saying that we come in peace. We don't want to harm you. So I've got my point and my evidence. So you can copy that down, and then you can type that into the quiz for today. Right, so question number 2, how did the Snoggets feel when they first saw Stig, and provide evidence? So can you find some evidence here about how when they first saw him, how did they feel? So my point here needs to have a feeling, and then what evidence can you find from the text that would support that feeling? So pause the video, have it answer that, and then you can go into Teams at the end and write your answer in. Right, here is question 3. Again, using your point and evidence. Was Stig used to eating sherbet? Okay, it tells me there that he wasn't used to eating sherbet. So what there would tell me that he is not used to it. So I've kind of given you the answer there for the point. So can you now provide the evidence that would tell me that he wasn't used to eating it? And the last question, towards the end of this chapter, how did Barney feel? Okay, so I want a feeling there towards the Snoggets. All right, so how was he feeling towards them? And can you give me some evidence? So I want a feeling as the point and evidence to back it up. And that is your 4 questions for today. All right, these 4 questions are exactly the same in your quiz. So you can log on to Teams now if you have Teams and submit your answers. Otherwise, take a picture and send it to year 5 at thepalmeracademy.com if you cannot log on to Teams. Good luck and enjoy the rest of your day of learning.